I'm fantastically glad to be here. So I love Canadians. I love BC. I have spent a lot of time in Vancouver in the past making films. I'm glad to be here amongst this kind of electricity and this kind of spirit. I am glad to be here with people who are on the sharp end of a critical business in which if you ain't right, bad stuff going to happen. I'm glad to share that life with you. And so I got Ben, Oliver, and Jared back, those three people. See the three people against the wall back there? They're probably not used to someone picking on them back there. Without them, I don't go anywhere. Without them, I don't have a program. See them? I don't have a program. Lesson number one, the people looking after you, look after them. Look after them. Love them. So I'll bounce around here, but yeah, my kids, my oldest is 60. And my youngest is 13.
Better you than me to say that.
So, but see, excellence, expression, evolution. So I need to say so far. You know, it ain't over. So I do got my priorities. oh, oh my goodness, is this so great? We're gonna have a great time. If I look at my clock, went away. Did someone take my clock away? I had it up here. And Roberta, she's been looking after me in this whole time. Oh, the clock flew away. I did have it up there. So I'm going to sit down and after watching, I get having fun. I'm going to sit down at 10:30. So, away we go. And so, first of all, I'm not here to fix you. You don't need it. The first thing you do in this room is understand how doggone good you are. You know there's tens of thousands of cranes all over the place. Like someone said, 250 right here. And when tiny things happen, you know, you get the attention. You get the attention because a crane is big and it's beautiful and it's tall and all that kind of stuff. And when stuff happens, you get your people's attention. You are operating tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 cranes, and you're doing it right. So that's where we start. You're that good. I'm not here to fix you. And so I love it that you emphasized the expectations for the day. It's where are we going with this? What are the takeaways when we leave here? What are the takeaways? And so we're going to raise the bar together. We're going to go on a journey together. I'm not here to talk down to you, and I'm not here to fix you. You don't need fixing. What we're going to do is raise the spirit of excellence, the spirit of exploration. You know, explore the possibilities. How do we get better? And an evolution and iteration of ourselves, your team, your company, and what you do into the future with continuous improvement. You know those words. Getting better and better. So that's what we're up to today. It starts with spirit and it ends with spirit. It's the spirit of doing it right. It's the spirit of excellence. So that's what we're going to do today. That's the takeaway, and that's the expectation. So right off the bat here, how good can we be? Exploring the possibilities. Where are we going into the future? And you see the airplane. The airplane we got right there. That's a NASA Northrop T-38. And that's the machine that NASA gives me just to maintain my skills as an operator, as an aerospace, as a professional. Just to maintain my proficiency. They give me that airplane there. So, yes, I spent over 30 years in that airplane. 7,000 hours in it, more than anyone in history. But what are we talking about? They give me that thing up there. That's a crane. They give you a crane and they give me an airplane. How good can I be? What am I going to do with that thing? What am I going to do with that machine? How good can I get? And you look and you continue. Year after year, you know, how good can I be? And so that's what life is. Life is another set of opportunities. Okay, where are we today? Where do we go tomorrow? That thing. They give me that thing. Oh, my goodness, here I go, sorry. You don't give it to me again. Here we go. Get on the playing field. Do the best you can. People always ask me, which one of these is you? Neither. I'm on an airplane out here taking their picture, so I fly alongside of them. So we are going to have piles of fun today, too. We're going to have piles of fun. And so, but that's what about. That's where we're going. So life is a set of opportunities. You look in the mirror today, what mountain are you going to climb tomorrow? Where are you going tomorrow? What's next? You see? You jump in, and I look upon these things as playing fields. You jump on this playing field. What's the game? How do I get to the finish line? What are my objectives? Where am I trying to go? It's like a playing field. And then the challenges is another word you put. You jump in there and you give it your best. Why do you do that? It's the right thing to do. It's a work ethic thing to do. But the other thing is, the more you put in, the more you learn. The more you give yourself to that situation, the more you jump in, you learn more, and then you take it with you. You figure this thing out. You get yourself, so to speak, get the job done. You learn from everything you've done, and you take it with you. You're going to see in my story, you take everything you ever learned with you. You take it with you. You put it to work and keep it on moving. And if life ain't turn in and get another one. Hey, cranes have got to be fun, and they are fun. Like they're fun. But your total life, personal life and professional life, and that's all the same. You don't cut yourself in half. You're one person. So, but life has got to be fun. If it ain't fun, you can't do it well. You cannot go to work doing something you don't like. How's that going to turn out? So fun, having your heart and having the passions, that's critical too. Now this is my childhood front yard, Jared said. So this is my front yard in western Massachusetts. Almost the same latitude as here. But that's my front yard, 500 acres. It's a playground. That is the posture. You can laugh now. You got to loosen you all up. We're going to have a great time today. That's the posture of exploration. You take any 3-year-old, I don't care where you put them, they're instantly in the game. They're exploring every roach, every stick, every stone. A 3-year-old, we got to remember that. That is your ultimate situational analysis, what's going to happen. Situational awareness. 3-year-old, they're looking at every possible thing. They're exploring the possibilities. So that's me. That is me 81 years ago on my farm. Jared said I did go in the pine forest alone at night at the age of 3. What kind of parents? Mom knew he'll be back. Mom had the faith. But me, people ask me, what did spaceflight do for me? Believe me, a 3-year-old in the middle of a forest at night, that was a bigger adventure than spaceflight. But I had total faith. I had the faith that not only would the forest not hurt me, it would look after me. And I was right. Pine forest, nothing can hurt you. There's nothing out there. But that was so. Exploration. And I did build my own rafts, went down the river at age 5. But there's the river. That's Houstonic River. So that's a view from the barn. That's a view from the house. It's down the hill to the river. And that's my first machine. And so there's a Farmall F20. I know we got plenty of farmers in the crowd. So at the age of 7, I jump on a tractor, and I'm pretending to drive it. See? But as you know, when you hit the brake pedal, I heard a laugh out there, you have released that ratchet lock to the brake. So you touch the pedal, and you let go, and the brake is off, and unfortunately the farmhands left the tractor pointing downhill to the river. I do not know what I've done, and there's nothing I can do about it, so I drive the tractor into the river. Drowning is the least of my problems. The old man is not nice under any circumstance, going to get a hell of a lot worse with his tractor in the river. So the top of the exhaust is just below the water level. Now that was a dumb thing to do. But I am not dumb enough to tell anyone that I did this, and I'm not going to take the heat. I'm not going to take the heat. So at the age of 7, I have a critical thinking problem. How do I tell everyone the tractor is there if I didn't put it there? So I have to tell them by looking at the lawn furniture, the wooden lawn furniture, and I looked down in the river. I said, oh, my goodness. So I went to the barn, and I got a chain, and I chained the lawn furniture to the tractor. So the lawn furniture is floating in the river. Well, the old man, this is really weird, but he got to go get the furniture back. He can't. It's chained to something. That's the way I showed the old man where the tractor is, and I take no heed. And he beat up on the farmhands for having done this. And the farmhands privately to me said, little story, Musgrave, you're one brilliant little kid, and you're going somewhere. I know that I am. But that's my whole life. I had to deal with that kind of stuff. Now, this is 1943, so everything in my life was centuries ago. But it's 43, and that farmer is going to try to make this baler tie the knots. But this is, it's tying twine knots. It's a rectangular bale. Here's some twine. He can't make it tie knots, but he got an 8-year-old going to tie the knots. That is me, back there in 1943. I'm going to tie knots and dust so heavy that I can't even see my own hands. And if I put my hands in the wrong place, they will be left there forever. I'm a product of child labor. But they used to feed me into moving machinery. They can feed me in there. I'm small enough. They feed me into moving machinery so I can go in and find out what's wrong and do something about it. I got run over endless times by equipment. I got run over. I got run over so bad one time, I got a fractured skull. I broke my head, and it took neurosurgery, brain surgery, to stop the bleeds. I still got the holes, so it's part of my outreach to you. If you want to stick your fingers in these holes, they're still there. The bone healed, but the other stuff did not. But I came out of that, and I'm having grand mal seizures, the seizures for every single bone rattling. And I'm operating farm equipment, having seizures at the age of 8. It's not, but it got me here to Vancouver. See, it got me here today. Without that, I probably wouldn't be here. But you look at your history, you say, was that all right? Well, it got me here. And so, however, I had to deal with that in the future. That is not the elite medical history that FAA or NASA is looking for. So I had to do a great cover-up job on that. But so, you learn something about life here? And so, but I go to school, and I got these little fingers, but I used to massage my brain. It's not every kid can stick his fingers in and move your brain around. And so I asked the kids at school if they ever felt a brain. And so they were totally fascinated by rubbing on a brain until they were home and they told their moms. And moms came back to school, what in the hell y'all got going on here, feeling brains? Not anyway. So, okay. By the age of 9, I am checked out and driving every single piece of machinery. You know where this is going. I'm driving everything. By 12 or 13, I know how to keep it going. It's not a repair job. I just know how to keep that thing going. This is a truckload of hay going down the road, and the state police stopped the truck. There's no head. There's no one driving the truck. We got to stop and find out who's driving the truck. And, it's young men. You can't be 16. No, sir, I'm 12. Just be careful, son. He knows farm going to go broke without my help. So now there's a bunch of farmers driving their airplanes off of this pasture, big pasture. It's not an airport, it's a pasture. And for me, this is a tractor with wings on it. And so I got kind of fascinated with this kind of thing. So I went to help them. Oh, this kid just knows I work, that's all. So I mowed the grass for them, and I got into repairing things and washing things. These farmers just love this kid. He just works, and he works for nothing. So they took me flying with them all the time. Every time they went flying, they took me. So I've been flying for months. The farmer lands the airplane one time, and he's leaving. I said, where are you going, sir? He says, have a nice ride, Story. I think he wants me to go by myself. Okay, where we go. So I sold it at age 13. This is totally safe now. I've been doing it for months. I've been doing it for months. And I do know machinery. I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. So I did solo, and as Jared said, I got 18,000 hours. So I've been flying for 70-some years now. Well, the farm went broke. The farm went bankrupt. And so at the age of 16, I left school. I don't have a high school diploma. I left school, and I became a heavy construction equipment mechanic. And, they don't know this kid, and so you know what an oiler is. So at first, I'm just an oiler. It's the fluids and every grease fitting. But they found out, when you learn something as a child, you are wired for that. You didn't just learn it. You got wired. So I started to move ahead with him, and I got into, some more sophisticated mechanics than just being an oiler. But we finished the Massachusetts Turnpike. That's what I was building, the turnpike up there. And I don't have an education, so I joined the Marines. That's all for the Marines. So I know they're professionals. But, you can look at me. I'm 17. Well, I'm 16 at this point. And I just need to move and keep going. This is technology. This is adventure. This is education. My goodness, what an opportunity. And so I joined the Marines at 16. I lied about my age. And then when at 16, I'm a simple-minded farm kid. It's not like the government doesn't know when and where you were born, So the paperwork caught up with me, and they were not happy. Private Musgrave, you're lying on government forms at the age of 16, and it's not a good start. They send me home, come back when you're 17. So I'm back when I'm 17. That's what I'm going to do. So first job I had with the Marines was, they know farm kids. Marines know farm kids. They're already mechanic. So I became an engine mechanic. And I did a lot of them, but this is the one I ended up with. That's a museum picture. I have no pictures for all the cowling was off. That's 3,000 horsepower. So I became a big engine mechanic. And so you know what I did with that thing. My first base was this K6 in Korea. That's my air base right there. And you see, those are my Douglas AD Sky Raiders. That's what the base, that's where I'm working. That's my sweetie. That's my honey. That thing has been abused beyond the imagination. It has never seen a hangar. It's been in the war. It's been the mud, the muck, and the snow, and it's just been tore up. But I moved incredibly fast with the Marines. I'm wired for that kind of stuff. For two reasons. I got the creativity of the farm kid, the creativity of a feel for machinery. A feel for machinery and that kind of stuff. But I also acquired the discipline. The discipline is you never touch a machine unless it's exactly the way they taught you or hopefully by the book. As a maintenance person, if you do anything different, you have changed the pedigree of the machine, and it is not going to, for better or worse, it will not live up to the expectations of the future. It's got to be done per the book to maintain the pedigree. So for those two reasons, my creativity and my discipline, I became a crew chief within a couple months of joining the squadron. A crew chief is one that coordinates all the other maintenance specialties, but I go to head shed, green check mark. I am certifying a military airplane to go to war. I'm doing this at age 18 with one stripe called Private Musgrave. It's called Private Musgrave. I'm certifying airplanes to go to war. That thing, trying to keep that thing going. Now, it's incredibly difficult that I got to do this work. I don't have a hangar, and I don't have a toolbox. Yeah, I know what a toolbox is. You know what a toolbox is red. It's this tall. You pull this out, and here's all the tools. I know what a toolbox is. I don't have a toolbox. I have to scrounge my tools throughout the base. And out the mud, the muck, and the snow. But I did keep it going. Now, it's my tradition. You pre-flight the airplane, you set the switches, and it's time to go fly. You go get your pilot. You show up at the pilot's lounge, time to go fly, and then you grab the pilot's equipment, and by tradition, you walk them out and strap them in. The first time I showed up at the pilot's lounge as a crew chief, someone from the back room said, "It's a child. It's a child we have here. Children are signing our airplanes off to go to war. What are we getting to?" And was I insulted? No. I am a child. I know I'm a child. It's okay, but that's what I do. And I pre-flight the airplane. Pilots do not. And I set all the switches. The reason you do that is the airplane's sitting, it's ready to go to war. The pilot can run out there, hit the start button, and away you're gone. So then I send this fellow off. Well, I know how much fuel, and I know how long that airplane can fly. Well, it gets to be late in the afternoon. Hey, my airplane landed somewhere else. It's out of gas and never came home. So the head chef got to know about this, I guess, but I'll go tell him. My airplane landed somewhere else. Sir, my airplane landed somewhere else. The Private Musgrave, it did not. And it's never going to land anywhere. We'll give you a different airplane next week. Okay. The second time I pilot an airplane didn't come home, that's the game this teenager's in. I hope they couldn't see it in my face, but when I send them off, I'm looking. Is this goodbye, sir, or are you coming home? So, it's a teenager. Well, finished up at K6 Korea. This is going to Japan to pick up the carrier. Nice picture, flying a Douglas Sky Raiders by Mount Fuji. And here's the carrier, the USS Wasp. And so it's straight deck. You know the catapult they use these days, the catapult to sling airplanes off. There's no catapult, no catapult. You flew them off. That is my pilot, it's my motor, it's my airplane. That's it. You flew them off. And when you got to the end, you flew them off. That's all. When you got to the end, if I have done my job, you go flying. If I have not, you go swimming. So that's what it was about back then. That is not mine. But I did have one of mine go in the water. But we don't know, or we have no. But you see, it's how fast the carrier going, what's the wind on the carrier deck, and what's the airplane, the power of the motor. I don't have a dynamometer. I just do my job, and hopefully the motor's up to speed. But 60 years ago, last month, ironically, my brother was on the same carrier, on the same Douglas 80. He went in the water, but he got run over by the carrier. My brother did not get out. Hey, folks, that's what the Crane people are about. That's the life you live. It's a privilege to have that. It's a privilege to have that kind of responsibility of get it right. So it's a privilege to be on the sharp end of the critical field where you get it right. And you got those kind of challenges. It's lovely that we all share that. But that's the life. So I ended up here at Kaneohe, windward side of the island on Oahu, VMA 212. That was my final tour of duty there. But I got to leave the Marines. Without a high school diploma, I can't fly with the Marines. I can't go anywhere, so I got to leave the Marines. And so I don't know where I should go. Now the important thing, another important thing is here, that's Kaneohe. I've been back there 20 or 30 times. I left there 65 years ago. I don't let the Marines go. I go there. I raise my spirit and their spirit, and we go on a journey together. Whatever you did in life, hang on to it. I can take the Marines and that spirit, that get the job done, and bring it to the crane industry or other industries. That's what you do in life. You hang on to what you had. So I was there with my 13-year-old daughter a couple of months ago. I keep going back there. So that's what it's about. But I got no guidance. I want to go get some education. I have to. I'm understanding now, no high school, I ain't going anywhere. And so where should I go? I don't know where I should go. But this one pilot, I thought he was pretty good. So I asked him, sir, where did you go to school? He said, I went to Syracuse University. And I said, did you like the place, sir? And he raved about it. He carried on for the next 10 minutes about how great Syracuse. Okay, I'll go to Syracuse. It sounds great. So I'll go there. Problem is, without high school, I can't get into Syracuse. But I don't take no for an answer, and so I showed up anyway. So I'm out here in the grass, asking people how I fix the situation. Go see the dean. Go see the dean. I'll find the dean. So I charged in the dean. I said, sir, product of child labor, I never finished school. I'm just back from the Marines. I'm ready to go to work. Are you ready to go to work, sir? He didn't even ask my name. He said, of course. He just looking at this thing. Of course. He walked me out front, matriculate this gentleman. Okay, that's it. Now, that's the way life works. People say, no, that was just, no. It happens that way today. It's a human thing. It's a human thing. You can't turn down this teenage Marine. He wants to go to work. So, okay, we went to work. So the answer I got for you there, what does that mean? What's the takeaway? You don't take no for an answer, and it's another way to get there. That's a child gate to stop these kids from climbing the stairs. Well, you see, there's another way to get there. And so where we go. But I've been trying to survive my whole life. And so this is a terrible slide, but it's so important, and it's what you all do. The factors that are going to affect the outcome. You're in some situation, you're with some machine, you're doing something. What are the factors that are going to help you to get to the finish line, or the factors going to hurt you or get you going sideways? Just the factors. It's the variables. You all deal with this. I deal with this all the time. Identify, comprehend, control all our factors. And also, it's not just logic and science. Curiosity, you need the imagination to see where this situation is going. And so I'm doing that kind of thinking because I've had to do it to survive my whole life. And so I got into a major of multivariable calculus and multivariate statistics, probability theory. I saw you got this 20-year-old farm kid that's getting into this. Yes, I love that kind of stuff, man. I'm gonna herd the cats to the finish line. I got to deal with all these things. Yeah. So now today, Statistical Analysis Institute, I think they got the best software program today for dealing with variables. And so, but I don't let this go. Every single year I go to Cary, North Carolina, and I talk variables with these folks. We talk variables. We talk about how we control life, and so maybe some of my stuff ends up in their software. Well, I love this stuff just fine. The very first week of college, I'm looking for the Marine Corps Reserve, and so they had no airplanes for me to play with, but I drove tanks. So and tanks is another machine. Okay, so I drove tanks all the way through college. I was not supposed to be the tank mechanic, but when my tank broke, I had it fixed before they fill out the paperwork. So I'm also a tank mechanic. And, why not? So, and of course I did this here too. I'm already construction, so I drove bulldozers too. But at this point, I'm making so much money going to college. And so I'm a simple-minded. Some of the money goes to a bank, but a lot of it comes in as cash. So I have this room, and the bureau drawers are full of cash. The bed is full of cash, and now I have no place to put all this cash. So I got to do something with the cash. What's all the cash? Well, you know what a farm kid does? A farm kid throws hay bales and bags of grain, and this bundles. That's what a farm kid does. Well, freshman in high school, I took wrestling. I don't know why it was there. But the rest of the kids take up weightlifting to get strong. I'm 5 years ahead of them in weightlifting, and they ain't going to catch up with me, so I'm an undefeated wrestler in high school for 4 years. Well, now I show up at the university here at Syracuse, and now I have Marine Corps combat training in addition to all the rest of that. They got a wrestling team, and I walked on. I made the varsity as a freshman. First time I walked on, I'm on the team. So within a month, that's called an athletic scholarship. So they pay, the hay bales is paying for room, board, and tuition. They're paying for the whole thing. Now, but I also have the GI Bill from the Marine Corps, Korea, and they pay for the whole thing too, and they don't talk at each other. So, the tanks is paying for number 3, and the bulldozers paying for number 4. I'm making 4 times the money I need to go to college. You see how life unfolds here? Man, just keep that ball rolling, man. And so I got to spend the money on something, so I spend it on this. So, out of 70 years of Corvettes, that 58 is the classic, probably because of the curves. But that's what I'm driving going through college because of the hay bales and the tanks and all that kind of stuff. And so it's probably the curves. Yeah, so it's a magnificent, this is today's, this is what I drive today. I drive a 1994 today. I'll still drive in the Corvettes. Now I took up flying. I continued my flying. I did fly with the Marines in the right seat, but I started flying. Now there's no space program. No, there's Sputnik not been up. I don't know where any of this is going. You see, you don't know live. You just keep that ball rolling. You just keep acquiring these skills. But I don't know. I took up flying because I like to fly. So I owned one of these Cessna 150s. I owned a Skyhawk. Don't know where none of this is going. But it's off to UCLA now in what was called operations research, but this is systems engineering. This is looking at the big system. That's what I got into, is that stuff. I'm still after all the variables. That's what I'm after still. I need a big computer to do it. So I got into IBM 709. That's a vacuum tube processor, compiler and assembler, and a mechanic. And so vacuum tubes, there's hundreds of them. When one burns out, it's incredibly hard to figure out which a vacuum tube not working. But I was better than the mechanics. I would stuff variables in one end, look what comes out the other end, and I could find the vacuum tube faster than the mechanics. So I'm a computer mechanic too. It's the way life rolls on. But from all this, this machine stuff, I got is how a brain works. How's the brain work? I should say leave it alone story on a great field. Leave it alone. I can't. My curiosity, I want to know what goes on in the head, the brain here. And so it's a fork in the road. You go over here. So you run into those in life. Yes, I'm the world's worst plagiarizer, sir. I plagiarize things. I learn from other people. I use their stuff. That's who I am in life. That's in Pasadena, California. I don't know why it's there, contemporary art, but I got a fork and I got roads. So I need pre-med now. So I'm going to go to medical school, but I don't have pre-med courses, so I'm going to go back to Syracuse. The paperwork's already done. I can just take my courses there, but I cross the Ohio River here. A 230-year-old town, Marietta. It's a gorgeous place. I just love the brick streets and the elm trees and another river here. This place is wonderful. And my goodness, and they got a college here. Wow. So I found out what looked like an administration building there. I said, do you have pre-med courses here? They look at me strange. Yes, of course we do, sir. We are a college, you know. Well, do you have an application? Yes, we have an application too. We are a college, you understand? So, okay, I'll go here. So I went there. Okay, what's the lesson there? Follow your heart. I'm not looking at, is this place certified? Is it going to get me to the medical school? No. You follow your heart and your passions. I love this place, and that's it. I don't need anything more. You got to love the place. You don't go to college, a place you don't like, to get you somewhere. No. Follow your heart. That's my medical school application right there. So, I filled out all their forms. I took their test, but that's me. This is me, folks, at the age of 24. Just one thing after another. There's 24. Farm machinery, mathematician, what is this? Heavy equipment stuff. Yes, I started driving heavy equipment. I kept doing that for years, all the way through medical school. But that's my application. I got in every single medical school in the country. You can't turn that down. People, you can't turn that down. Whatever this creature is, he's going to figure it out and get it done. You can't turn that down. Yes, I got in all of them. And so I ended up going to Columbia and in Manhattan, New York City here. My interviews went there so well. We had such a good time. I went there. That's the George Washington Bridge, you see. And we had a great time. Had a great time, Manhattan. I saw this on the door, neurosurgery. It's got neuro. So there's a lab. I went in there, said, okay, here we go. Let's go to work. Who are you? Freshman medical student. We don't have those in here. Don't you worry. I'll figure the place out. Looking at me strange. But, well, I'll work for nothing. You're hired. So, you know, if you can't get in the door, you work for nothing. but I was on salary within a month. Now, they did not need another scientist. They needed a mechanical genius. It turns out with all their electrodes and manipulators and all the rest of that, they needed a mechanical genius, and they got one. And so this is luck. Sometimes you get in a situation in life where you got harmony, it's going to work. But sometimes, life, you got bad luck. I know there is luck, but this was incredible luck. A month after joining, I was publishing papers. So I was on every single paper to come out of that lab, very significant papers. So my whole way now in medicine is paved. I can go to any hospital, any university, because of 12 published papers during a medical student. That's a medical student. So that worked out. Now, right across the river, right across the Hudson River here, is the Lakewood Sport Parachuting Center. And so I heard, this is brand new. They brought the sport from France. So people are falling out of airplanes. And I thought that was kind of fun. I mean, you fall through the air. This is brand new, to fall through the air. And I got kind of interested in doing that. And so I would go over there, and I said, well, I'm going to try this falling through the air. It looks like pretty fascinating stuff. And so, but of course, I have to do this right, and I cannot leave my family in Manhattan, in New York, and tell them I'm going to fall out of airplanes and leave them there. I can't do that. And in medical school, until I took obstetrics and gynecology and found out how children are produced, they were popping out every spring. Yes, I entered medical school with no children, ma'am, and I left with 4. But you see the situation. I got my gang there in Manhattan, and I cannot say I'm going to spend the weekend falling out of airplanes. No, I took the whole gang with me. We all went and we did this together. The kids. My whole family went through all the courses. My whole family's there. When I leave the airplane, and I got a helmet on, and I leave the airplane, my family's down there, and the person's talking to me on the way down. I come down, I land 10 feet, here we are. My family understood. This guy is so exasperated about the details and about doing it right. This is an okay thing to do. And it was an okay thing to do. You know about these, best procedures. That's what you do. That's what we do all the time. Engaged interaction with other parachutists. Everything I did, I'd ask people, come, look, scrutinize. Am I doing it? Have I got the best way? And you look at how they do it, and you build a configuration. You build a set of things. You got the publications, industry standards, other domains. You know what this is all about. It's what we all do. It's what you do and it's what I do. So they were so darn good anyway. I don't know how much I helped them. But I brought military procedures to them. I brought my variables. I brought my factors. I brought all the thinking. And we worked together. My tour of duty at Lakewood Sport Parachuting Center, we had 300,000 jumps and we had 0 fatalities. And I never saw a reserve parachute deploy. Okay. This is what y'all do. It's a critical industry, but it's just do it right. But it's procedures, it's best practice, continuous improvement, it's all those words that, as I said earlier, you know already. So, now, I'm finishing medical school, so I got to finish medical school. I got to go do my surgical training and get ready to do neurosurgery, brain surgery, and study the brain. But my Marine Corps channels, I heard about this fellow. He went to Yale, and he was Harvard Medical School, and he is taking the beachheads with the Marines in World War II. He has no equipment. He just goes on shore. When a Marine gets hit, he does what he can do to save the life without it. Hey, man, what kind of person is this? But I heard about him, and he says, he's mine. I will grab him. I'm going to get him. Where did he go? So he became the founding chairman of surgery at the University of Kentucky Medical Center. So I went there, and I found this man, and I interviewed him. And of course, you know how that's going to work out. So I'm in surgical training with him. So that was just a wonderful thing to do. But the National Academy of Sciences and NASA are putting their heads together, and they are going to launch this program to fly formally trained scientists in space. I said, my goodness, it's another big fork in the road. Space flight, okay, here we go. So, but at this point, with all my mechanical skills and all my flying skills and science, all this, it's just a natural. And so I said, well, we'll go try that one out for a while. And so I got into aerospace medicine, don't have time to do, but that device I came up with, it did fly in the Skylab program, our first space station in 1973. It flew on a shuttle, it's on Space Station. And so I took a master's degree in biological physics, but that's why my education is so, I didn't just do that. I'm going somewhere, I need some more, you know, and so I know that the National Academy of Science will be looking for more science and not clinical training, so I left my clinical training. They want science. I took a minor in aeronautical engineering at the lab here. And so this graduate course in aeronautical engineering, you needed to come up with a project. So I came up with a project of the aerodynamics of the free-falling human body. That's me a century ago with some of my instrumentation. So we became the first people in the world to ever study the aerodynamics of the free-falling human body. And the military was into that. They love my data. And even though my data is 60-some years old, it's about as good as what they got today. So I turned a hobby, I turned a sport into a serious research project. That's the way our life goes. And so, like I do have, Jared said, I got about 800 of these, and I have nothing. I have nothing to tell you. I have no surprises. I did difficult jumps, too. Doing night jumps into a football stadium for the halftime show, you know, that's not nice. But I built all the plans. I built my primary plan. I built my other plan. If I can't hit the field, there's a parking lot there, here. So I got no stories to tell you, and you know why. It's what you do in life. I was a commercial pilot and flight instructor out of Bluegrass Field, Lexington. I increased my aeronautical skills for NASA. I took up soaring. This is my Beechcraft T-34A, 70 years old. And so I got my airline transport rating in the Twin Bonanza, and that's the highest. That's the PhD of aviation. So I'm getting ready for what is going to be a really tough. So that's nice music. Hey, it's right. It's leave it going. It's right on par. Did you hear that? What? You told him. Someone's listening in on you. 6,000 applicants, all had doctorates. 6 of us got to space. Child labor came through again, man. So, and it was child labor, believe me. So those are kind of bad numbers. But I joined a few years before Apollo started flying. The very week that I moved from Kentucky to Houston to join the Astronaut Corps, and this incredible man became chairman at the University of Colorado Medical Center, chairman of surgery. I got a phone call from him. It says, "Story Musgrave, if you can get away from NASA for 2 or 3 days a month, I will turn you into the world's best trauma surgeon." My goodness, trauma? Yeah, that fits. That's a better specialty. I can bring my aerospace and procedure, bring all this stuff. And so I ended up in trauma surgery, and for the next 26 years, I was 2 or 3 days a month at Denver General Hospital and doing trauma surgery. Now, that's a recent picture. I was not happy with what I saw in trauma surgery. And so a badly hurt patient comes in, you know what they're like, hurt from the head to the foot. No one's moving because the doctor got to tell them what to do. See, they're just waiting on the doctor to tell them what to do. And the doctor says, well, I got to figure out where they're hurt, and then I'll know how to save their life. I need to know where this body is hurt. So nothing's happening. He can't figure out where it hurt. It's totally hurt. No one's doing anything, and the body goes to the morgue. The sirens are ringing, and the next body comes in, so the body's passing through. The sirens, and they go to the morgue. Hey, that's not that's not what I do in life. I need action. I need action. So I need action. Hey, that's action. That's action. You see, it is so clear. That's my team. The record for 4 tires is 2.4 seconds. I don't believe it, but NASCAR tells me that's the record. Who am I to say it's not the record? 2.4 seconds. You got a tire off. You got a jack, and you got fuel. You got a tire off person, tire on, zip. The choreography, the training. You think they're waiting on a doctor to tell them what to do? No. So I'm looking at this kind of thing, and that's what I'm going to do. So, and who cannot be inspired? So this is multiple domain synergy. My answer's over there. My answer. I'm going to learn from those people. I'm going to take their attributes. I'm going to bring them into what I need to do in life. Okay, so I've been there, and of course I'm still there. The color coding and the proficiency and the choreography of the whole darn thing. So I'm looking at all these kind of things and I'm thinking about getting results. Well, I'm changing the outcome. I changed the outcome. I only need two things. I need oxygenated blood flow to the head and to the heart. That's all I want. I'm not going to fix you later. You're trying to die and I ain't going to let you die. I need oxygenated blood flow to here and here. If you ain't got a heart, it's over. The brain at 2 minutes starts getting the permanent damage. At 4 minutes, it's dead without oxygen. So I changed the criteria. I want oxygenated blood flow to heart and head. That's it. And by the way, you're plumbers. You're not doctors, you're plumbers. Okay. And so there's my team. I'm the flight director, but I don't have to do nothing. It's like NASCAR. I just sit around and smile at my friends. The body comes in, everyone does, they do it. So, yellow is a physiological monitor. How are we doing? We winning or losing the battle? The physiological monitor says, have we got the flows? Have we got the flows to here and to there, and is it oxygenated? That's all I need to know. The red, stop the blood loss, man, and that's all you do in life. You're red, you got red equipment, and your checklist, your red checklist on that wall. And that checklist on that wall, and that checklist, I was the first person in the medical field to put checklists on a wall and to reduce all this to checklist. And so fluid replacement, blue, yeah. I don't do IVs. I cut and put the whole tube in. So my criteria was 30 seconds, you get a whole pint. And if one ain't working, you're going to get 4 pints in different places. So I'm not going to lose. Blood, oxygen, okay, there you go. So that's the team. And the criteria is to keep it alive and then put it together later. So I did make a difference, me and my chairman. So NASA sent me to the Air Force as soon as I joined NASA because I didn't have jets. Jets are expensive, so I didn't have jet experience. And back then, even though I'm a scientist, they want me to have military wings. Yeah, so that's back in 50-some years ago. And today, a couple of months ago, I was at Columbus Air Force Base, learning what they do. I don't let anybody go. I don't let the Air Force go. I don't let the Marines go. I don't let anybody go. I don't let statistics go. You hang on to that kind of skill. What are they doing? So I ended up with the Air Force in this wonderful Northrop T-38. It is 60 years old today. I understood the importance of simulation, and I got all the simulation time I could. Going through the Air Force, I would get the key to the simulator building and work all night. And so I knew that kind of experience. And it was kind of fun. During the daytime, I'm learning from them, but at nighttime and weekends, I'm teaching the instructors, the Air Force instructors, how to get the airline transport. They can join the airlines. Well, we just share it. So I came back to NASA, and half our fleet of airplanes was this Northrop T-38. It's gorgeous, 60 years old. It's a gorgeous thing. And so, but the other half was this. So when you call up the field as an astronaut, do you want to fly that or do you want to fly this? Story Musgrave flying this. I'm flying this because it's going away. It's a 1948. It's an antique. It's an antique. It's going to go away. I want that airplane going to teach me different things. I want to learn. And so I spent all my time in this airplane before it went away. I want to learn something. When you're flying that kind of cockpit and you're in a blizzard going through New York City, you're earning your pay. But I know how to do that. I know how to do that. I'm going up to Bradley Field, an ambulance stand to work on suits. But it sounds like a terribly unprofessional call. But there's one night I'm going, man, I'm tired. I've been working all day, and I got this kind of cockpit, and it's terrible weather. New York Center, NASA 933. Go ahead, sir. I am having a very bad day today, and pretty soon the charts are going to get way ahead of me. Oh, NASA, heading 360, 8,000 for Bradley. They look after you. Okay. You're getting in over your head, tell them. They will look after you. Air traffic control is not much control. They're for helping you. And, of course, I was with the FAA in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. The FAA could continue to do them. So I continued to be an airplane mechanic. Going to fly, I'll stop and they work on the airplanes. I'll see them working on some system that I don't understand. And I don't have it at that level. But me, here's the cockpit. Every single switch, every knob, everything. That switch I see in my head, all the wires, all the circuit breakers, all the solenoids, and the whole path of everything. That's the way I learned something. I'm a mechanic, okay? So I continued to be an airplane mechanic. And the mechanics insisted that I be the maintenance test pilot for the airplane. A maintenance test pilot is when an airplane been under heavy maintenance, critical. Motors, flight controls, or a periodic inspection where the pieces all over the floor. I'm the one that flies it to see that everything's been put together right. And so a functional check flight is very simple. You set up initial conditions, you perturb the airplane, and you see how it responds. And that's all. You do about 50 of those things. But it's the best flying I ever did. Now, in 800 functional check flights over the decades, I never found a single maintenance error. My goodness me, not one error. You can have two kinds of errors. An error of omission, that means you didn't do something you should have. A commission, you did something you should not have. Not one single maintenance error in 800 of these maintenance test flights over the decades. So you know how I love and appreciate the kind of people that did that kind of maintenance. So, well, did you have a useful job? Yes, I'm testing stuff that you shut the engine down as it relight at 28,000 feet. You know, full amp stick stall, how's that? You're going supersonic? Do you hit any kind of vibrations? Idle, come home. They can't test those kind of things. So I do have but that was something best flying. I carried a camera everywhere I went. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. It's value added. I put my camera in my helmet. Every time I go fly, I got the camera. I'm just thinking, it's a beautiful airplane. It's going to take me to great places. Now, I'm not going to be too morbid today. But folks, we are in a critical industry. If I ain't got it right, it's a bad outcome. If you ain't got it right. So this is the wagon at Ellington Field, Houston. When bad stuff happens, it picks up the pertinent airplane parts and it picks up the body parts before it goes to the coroner. So it's sitting there. Every time I go fly, I stop here. And if nobody can see me, I don't want to freak people out. If nobody can see me, I kneel. I kneel. What you said, you know. Do you have a right to go home? Are you going home? Or are you going home in this? Or are you going home to your family? Complacency is a horrible thing. So I went to fly in Ellington, 4,000 times. I've done this 4,000 times. And you can say, I know how the day's going to turn out. It's like any other one of 4,000 days when I went flying. The lesson is, it is not. There's no guarantee. There's nothing that says today will end the same way it always did. 4,000 times. Complacency can get into that thing where you think, I know the outcome ahead of time. So, that wagon there, that meat wagon, I go fly, and that's the sense I take with me. I don't know how the day's going to turn out, and vigilance and awareness. Walking out to the flight line, here, your scan, your situational awareness, you start looking. You look everywhere. What am I getting into here? What is the day? Situational awareness. Here's that beautiful machine. That is one gorgeous airplane, 60 years old now. This particular one, and of course I am in love with machines. 901, NASA downsized. They went to the Boneyard in Davis-Monthan, and it's ended up in Bowling Green, Kentucky in a museum. So some of my friends here, my sweeties, I follow them around. Through no fault of her own, she's not flying anymore. Now, this is what NASA wants you to do. They want you to push hard within the operating limitations. Push hard. They want you don't just go cross country somewhere. Do aerobatics. And you need these pictures. And so you can get this whole PowerPoint, my whole program. So I'll just let you know that I'll give you all these. So Roberta got the thing, but also Story Musgrave at Hotmail, I will send you Crane program. So, but this is what NASA wants you to do. That's the Earth you see down there. And so, but I also teach this to the investment community, that if you drive the prices up high enough, you're going to end up doing this. So, so that's the Gulf of Mexico, south of Ellington Field, Houston. Now this is 60,000 feet a minute. This is 12 miles. It's 12 miles a minute toward Earth, and you've got to stay awake, and you have to be vigilant about what is going on. And so two of my friends left the Earth. That's where they departed, here, Gulf of Mexico, doing this kind of stuff. And so it is called vigilance. And these are the Thunderbirds, the American aerobatic team. They had this Northrop T-38 too. And so the entire team went in the field outside of Nellis Field in Las Vegas. They're the best in the business. They're professionals. They're the best in the business. Last year, a Blue Angel, he's going to do a simple split S. You go up like this. Okay, he's a professional. He's done this 1,000 times. He had the wrong airspeed. He had the wrong throttle setting and the wrong altitude, and he ran it into the ground. Okay? That's what it's all about. He's done it 1,000 times. What do we got going on? Vigilance is the other side of complacency. It is sharpness all the time. All the time. How are we doing? Where's it going? So that's it. I love the look of that bird. Ain't going to miss nothing, man. That symbolizes vigilance. Now, at this point, I know I'm going to do a book. I've been photographing this airplane for years, incredible pictures, so I'm going to do a book. So I'm looking for ways to capture great pictures for this airplane. So this is a UPS, United Parcel Service. That's their hangar. I asked them if they could take their airplanes out, and me and my mechanics will put my T-38s in here to get my Crystal Cathedral stained glass window. There are no windows, but I'm just trying to get nice pictures of this thing. And now down at Kennedy Space Center, where I was yesterday, so there's going to be a launch. The shuttle going to launch there. So I'm looking nice background for my airplane. So here's the T-38s. I line them all up like that. And so people say you cheat. I do. They said the mechanics would not do. No, they'll do anything for me. I'm one of them. And so I got a night launch. And so here's a shuttle night launch. And so I want pictures of my airplane. Here's a daytime launch, STS-117. But now, can you believe what this launch plume? That launch plume turned into this. I got my beautiful airplanes leaving at night in the sunset, and I got that. I got these pictures because I had the camera with me. So what's the thing there? Be ready, because stuff going to happen. I cannot see ahead of time that today there'll be no good photographic opportunity. No. And so I also put the airplane out there because the shuttle's going to land and go by. Yeah, so the shuttle lands, and I want a nice backdrop for my airplane. I want pictures of my airplane. And the shuttle people knew what I was doing. So they moved the airplane back and forth. They moved the shuttle back and forth so that I could get the right perspective. And so don't you dare say Photoshop. Most powerful rainbow I ever saw in my life. I landed, it's Sunday. That's why there's no workers out Sunday. I'm trying to leave, strange light, and I look over my shoulder, and I got that. So I ended up doing a book. And here's the book I did to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the airplane. So I've took up soaring over the years, and that's my sailplane. And I built the instrumentation system in it, the highest performing sailplane, two place in the world. And I did aerobatic shows eventually. Now this is discipline, folks. It's having a plan. Shows ever terrible. Even the Paris Air Show, which is, incredibly big, they have wrecked every airplane they ever sent to Paris. A supersonic transport, an Airbus, an F-18. You know the record. That's not the record we're going to have. And if you look at the record, they didn't have a plan. I got a plan, man. You have to have a disciplined plan and awareness of how the plan goes. So if you look at the record of those air shows, they didn't have a plan. They didn't rehearse the plan, and so that's what it's all about. Or it wasn't a good plan. You've got to have a plan. So that's the plan. Now, these are my real heroes in terms of flying. And so Southwest have been flying for 51 years. 51 years, and never hurt anyone in a cab until Blade 13 on the #1 engine took out that window, and that lady died of blunt head trauma when she went halfway out the window. 51 years of a human enterprise where humans are involved in the process like what you do. Humans are involved in everything you do. And so a lot of people look upon humans, as the variable that you can't get a hold of. Well, you can. 51 years. And I'm up in my hotel room last night. And I'm looking at the air of Vancouver. just gorgeous. I know what's going on, and I know what produced that. It's perfection. Every one of them. When I fly in commercial, that just excites me no end because I know how they do that. I know how 51 years and never hurting anyone. Best practices, every incident that happens, that gets incorporated. We're not going to do that one again. And so they are my real heroes in the world. They're all the same. Delta, they're on their 8 billionth passenger without incident. My goodness, they're all the same. And even the newcomers. They have a system that a newcomer gets in the game and they're just as good. So that is perfection. Now I dissect commercial air and I look at the attributes from project management, new airplane, Boeing 797, what we're going to do. And I look at all the attributes that result in 9 decimal places of reliability, and I bring that to other corporations and other industries. So the lesson is there. NTSB are my ultimate heroes. They are so nuanced in their diving into what happens, the ultimate causes. They dive in. It's called nuance. It's penetrating. Face of NTSB. And of course, I work with them, and I talk with them, and I teach their methods to other people. They are so good. I teach them to other people not so that other people can investigate accidents, the past. No. You look at what they do, and now you're able to see the future. If you read NTSB reports, and I recommend read a few NTSB reports, and you'll never be the same. You will start thinking about this thing, this situation, this machine, what is going to happen in the future. So, they're my heroes too. On to Apollo 75. I became a spacewalker right away. It was so natural because spacewalker got to do work. I've been doing mechanical work my whole life. As a doctor, as a surgeon, I understand the ergonomics of a suit. It's not got the same suit I got, and I understand the ergonomics of work. And physiology, when you close the helmet on, you're physiological to the system. It'll give you what it breathes. It'll control your temperature, all the rest. And my military stuff, my military discipline, and of course my upper body strength. So I did a lot of Apollo. That's an Apollo capsule. Was the vacuum tester. I got more vacuum time than any human in history. That's not something to brag about. A vacuum not a nice place to be, but you know, I do what I got to do. And so that's me back testing the Apollo capsule. On we go, and of course we had our 50th anniversary in July, and I spent July 20th anniversary with my flight control people in Houston. And so at Skylab, our first space station, it had a catastrophic launch, and a whole bunch of stuff was tore off. So that's a spacewalk to put that thermal shield out there. But I designed the spacewalks for Skylab, our first space station in 1973 under the shuttle program. This was the first experience we have of flying a shuttle. So we recertified the airplane. We bolted special speed brakes, and we flew it at speeds up to 310 knots. With gear and flaps down. The airplane was originally only certified for 240. We certified it so that you could. This was our very first experience of what a shuttle approach and landing was. Now, I was the standardization and evaluation pilot at that time. I set the standards for other people. I gave the check rides. I was an instructor and stuff. But I set up a neat syllabus for training, for the shuttle training. And of course, until you got into the game, I had a hypothetical runway 2,000 feet above the ground. So you would flare to that until you got used to it. Two of my friends, my colleague astronauts, they heard about what we were doing. So they got the idea that they'll just run out and grab an airplane, and we're certified, and they'll dive at the Earth. They'll dive at the Earth until it's time to flare. They thought they could just, budget 6,000 feet a minute. So they dove at the Earth, and they hit the Earth. Huh? I've buried 30 astronauts. I have put 30 in the ground. Okay? Jared said, you want to go home? You want to go home? Or you want to go that way? Sorry. This airplane flies just like a shuttle. It's a Gulfstream II jet. But the left-hand side of it flies that's a shuttle side. The right-hand side is airplane. So from 35,000 feet down, when you fly the airplane, it flies the way a shuttle flies. So the controls and stuff you put into it, it talks to the computers in the back, and the computers in the back make the airplane fly the way a shuttle is going to fly. So you can fly to actual bases you're going to fly to. Don't worry about the nose gear. We couldn't overcome the vibrations. But when we first got into this, we have to use thrust reverse. The engine's got to be in thrust reverse. You know, thrust reverse is to reduce your landing roll, but we need thrust reverse to make it fly like a brick. The shuttle flies like a brick. So we need thrust reverse. When we first got into this, thrust reversers were falling off the motors because they weren't designed to do that, but we fixed that. I'm incredibly proud of this team. When we got up and running, we had 164 dives at Earth without incident. Okay, you know what it's all about. That's what we're talking about today, 164,000 dives. That's White Sands, New Mexico. In 1975, I picked up this machine. They told me in 1975 to look after, it's not named Hubble, it doesn't have a contract, it's got nothing. They're going to put a big telescope in space. In 1975, they gave me the machine, me and the team. Story Musgrave, you identify every failure, you can get into what you're going to do about it with a spacewalk. So they want me to see the future. Yes, I can see the future. I got all my mechanics, but you see where I got a job. But I also got to look ahead. I got to look ahead of that machine, see all the things that can happen to it. And so, but the plan is you're going to grab it, put it in the back of the bus, and go to work on it back there. And so you got to do it looking like this. Very bulky and not got the same body. It doesn't have a shoulder joint. It's not got the same body you got, and it's got a lot of mass. Not weight, but it got mass. Okay, that's what it's all about. And that's what y'all do. That's what you got to do in the crane business. Like NTS speed, intricacies, what can happen, failures, causes, consequences. And create the ability to recover the total. That's what I got to do in life, starting 18 years before I went to fix it. Now, my imagination is fine, but not enough. I want a physical prototype. I got to have physical. So I had them build me a balloon. And so that's a balloon telescope. And here's my styrofoam instruments. Now that's a high-fidelity robotic arm, but it's not certified for people. So I put a balloon story. That's a balloon story, you know. So you know what I'm doing. I need prototypes. I need something to practice on. I was on Challenger's first flight, did the first shuttle spacewalk because they helped me design the suits. And so I'm the first one to operate that suit out in space, and that's the same suit the space station doing this week. And so my same suit. And so fortunately, after all that work on it, I was the one that got to test it. And I did an astronomy mission. I flew as a pilot also on Challenger, but we ended up with Challenger like this. We had failure at the top. At the very top of NASA, we had cultural failure. They thought they had produced a bus. They wanted to produce a bus. They could fly 66 times a year under all conditions, and then they pretended they hadn't. But I'm not going to talk about the engineering. I'm only going to show you one picture. That's the launch pad on launch day. So you know the business. What requirements around the system? What specifications? In the tens of thousands of pages that defined the shuttle, was ice in any one of those pages? No. Ice? We're in Florida, where it's warm in the Gulf. Was ice part of the equation? No. You're outside the limits, folks. You're outside the limits. When you see one icicle, you are no-go for launch. Hey, guys, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? You're out of limits. We didn't plan on that. And ice was not part of the requirements imposed on the system. Well, you know that. Operating limitations. So on the real Hubble, I took all the pieces out and put them back in. And so I practiced all my stuff on the real Hubble with, of course, quality over my shoulder. I was flying other missions in the meantime. And so, but I kept Hubble. I worked in parallel. I was a communicator mission control for 25 missions. 25, your lead communicator. That's where I really learned how to be an astronaut, collaboration and teamwork, and how you work with them. And so, as an aside, so I worked a lot with Mark Arnault, the head of your Department of Transportation. He's an excellent man. I'll tell you, he was just a super guy. I'm not talking about astronaut. He was just a great human being. So I love Mark, and of course I knew Roberta and Julie and all the rest of them. You Canadian astronauts were just terrific. But I did a lot of work in mission control with Mark. But that's the best decision-making process I've ever known. We put the wrong mirror in the telescope, and I won't go into the details, but it was absolutely horrible. I can tolerate mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. This is negligence. It was criminal negligence. They knew what they were doing, do it anyway. But for you all, it's an interesting read. You go on the internet, Hubble Mirror Accident Report, and you will find out what quality and design is not. And you'll find out what negligence is. It is totally horrible, but I got to fix that thing now. So now I can focus on the 13 systems that are broken. I'm not just preparing for all possibilities. I got 13 things that are broken. Well, I got a mission to do, but NASA says we're going to pursue Cessna citations as a way to augment our proficiency. So, Story, you're the one that goes to study I think I have enough to do, but give it to me, baby. Okay, it's another learning environment. Into the simulators, do it. Away we go. So I picked up that. Along the way, and it's the same thing. You jump in, do the best you can. There's the Hubble down at Kennedy Space Center going out to the launch pad. And so away she goes. And so just show my family, been involved. That's my daughter, Holly, in everything that I do. Going in the water tank, now water is good for, if I put a force, me spacewalk, I put a force, it's coming back to me. If I push 10 pounds, it comes back to me. That's what the water is good for. It's not good for how the suit is going to work. If I go upside down in the water tank, I got 150 pounds on my collarbones. And so you have to, as you're doing this, you get a lot of analog ways to try to build in your imagination. But I show this because I empower the divers to talk to me. Before I go in, anyone that sees a better way for me to do my work, show me. I want to hear from you. Show me. And so that's how you get the best solution. And so in medicine, in any situation I'm in, I ask. Anyone that's uncomfortable with what we're doing, tell me. Comfort lets the intuition speak. It's not legal and it's not analytical. Are you happy with how it's going? That's it. And my operating room nurse, she knows more than I do. She's seen what I'm doing, she's seen 100 different surgeons doing it. She'll help you if you let her. If she has a suggestion and you bite her head off, you'll never hear her again, folks. That's what it's about. The Costa Concordia, this nutcase captain, he's trying to do a show for the shoreline. So we all learn. We crane people, we learn from everything that happens, Costa Concordia. Closer and closer. Well, he's got his girlfriend on the bridge that night. He's going to push it harder, and yes, he ran to shore. My only question for you crane people is, where was first mate, second mate, and third mate? Where was the first mate? You tell the captain, fire me if you want, but we ain't deviating from the course. You got it? I'll call a company right now. But the company had saw these deviations over the months. Okay, we don't do that. I don't care what your position is. You speak up. It's called the rules and the best practices, all that stuff. So I trained in the Smithsonian Museum. Now that real Hubble is up there. I'm worried about the mock-ups. I'm worried what they give me. The mock-ups may be different, but that engineering qualification unit in the Smithsonian guaranteed to have the same minute. So I brought my instruments to it. I installed my instruments on it, fit and function. Do they fit okay? And I'm training my body how to do the job. And so I'm rehearsing here. Tomorrow I'll do the highest fidelity test you can do. That's going to a vacuum chamber at flight temperatures. So in the vacuum chamber at flight temperatures, just like space. Well, what is temperature in space? To make it simple, I want a face full of Mother Earth. There's no air. So even from 400 miles up there, I will be 59 Fahrenheit because that's the average temperature of Earth. So it's, I know, we're Canada or we're Florida or we're night and we're day or we're different seasons. On average, 59. But the blackness of space is minus 470. You cannot take a spacewalker and give them the blackness of space. So they didn't design this. They weren't creative enough. I know it's very complicated. It's the attitude. So my temperature will be, when you're flying the shuttle with a telescope, that's going to be my temperature. They may run at minus 120 Fahrenheit. I fought with them for months. Okay, we'll go try that. My fingers hurt so bad. At the 8-hour point in this test, my fingers got comfortable. Story. They didn't warm the place up, so they were comfortable because they were dead. So here I am 6 months before flight, and I got 8 dead fingers. You see, they were black when I pulled them out of the gloves from that test. So now I not only got to choreograph how I'm going to do all this work, but I got to worry about how much flesh and how many fingers I'm going to have. You'd think NASA would have taken me off. No, he knows too much, but also the farm kid. The farm kid, you know, you can't stop him. He'll get the job done. Doesn't matter how many fingers he got. He'll still get the job done. And yes, I would have. And so, okay. That's a ground-based test we got to answer. When I went to fly this mission, I'm toasty warm. We flew a perfect attitude, put heaters in the gloves, and so away we go. And just some nice pictures. Your vehicle out there in California. And then we go into Florida. That's your vehicle coming back, stack that thing up. You know the procedures are going through here. Nice sunset. This is the highest point in my over 30-year space career, is to get into fly formation with your team and to go by and look at that vehicle tomorrow. Tomorrow I go in that vehicle there. And of course, you don't go by and buzz the place. No. You rehearse it ahead of time. You call them up. You get permission. Story. What time you want to come by? Oh, the troops will love it. You work it out, right? Work it out, folks. But which one is me? No, I'm the one over here taking a picture. So, and I was there yesterday. And so here's the van. Your van comes down here and you check the birds out here, the eagles, symbolic for flight. America, that pine tree has died, and I'm trying to get them to shore that up with lumber. So, because the eagle's been there for years. Here's my fellow. I'm looking for consensus. I want them to know things okay. So I got a lot of yes votes, but I got one no. He belongs up there. He said, I'm not having no part of this, but I got a consensus. So, and Troy been with me for 30 years. He's the last human I see, straps me in. He takes care of my equipment, my helmet, my gloves, and all that kind of stuff. And so he's passed on, of course. Well, here we go. Now, go up there and fix Hubble. And believe me, this is one heck of a lift that you're riding here. It's not nice. I'm not a risk taker, but it is beautiful. And so I was the only one to fly on every shuttle. And so the way they found that out is the mechanics found 10 fingernails embedded in every instrument panel. They did the DNA. Oh, it's Musgrave. So, oh my goodness, he's flown on all of them. And so we go catch the Hubble. That's after 18 years I got a hold of that thing. And getting ready to go to work, go out the door. Yes, we deserve that for the wrong mirror, but the early failures. When you buy a new car and it breaks before you get home, early failure was design bad or it wasn't, or quality bad. And design was okay, but it didn't meet the specs in terms of the quality. So it's design or quality bad, early failures, and we had a bunch of early failures, so we deserve this. But that does not get into my equation. I'm happy with my plan. I trained with Dorothy Hamill, Olympic figure skating champion. I'm an athletic event, and I brought the perfection of athleticism to the spacewalking world. What is that? When I go out the door, I got my suit and I got my tools, and we're going to do a dance. We're going to do a figure skate in the back. I'm going to do a dance, and I get the job done or I don't. I brought the perfection of thousands of years of athleticism to the spacewalking world. The lady today, and here are my real heroes. I climb poles with them forever. It's just crane people, utility people. You raise the bar, you raise the spirit. I climb with him. That's a real spacewalker. And so Duke Energy, after they cleaned up Florida from the Hurricane Irma, I knew I'd get a call. Story, time for you to climb pole. We got the team, we got everyone from around the country. Let's go. Okay, so I went and climbed the pole. But that's it. That's how you learn. But Duke does tell me a story. You do understand when you're climbing the pole, there's no juice in the lines. Okay. All right, there I am. After 18 years, and here's the incredible team. I want them up there. I want them looking after me. It's not leave me alone. I want them taking care of me, and I know that. The box that corrected for the wrong mirrors, a bunch of mirrors going to come out. That's the camera that brings you the beautiful pictures from Hubble. The solar rays are totally horrible. I had to replace those solar rays. The old solar rays, when they got in sunlight and they expanded, they shook the telescope. When they got in the night side, they contracted and shook. We were losing 30 minutes of Hubble pointing every hour and a half because the solar panels were shaking. How did we get into that? Solar panels out there in the sunlight to make electricity. They didn't test them in the sun. It's another one of them oversights that I'm having to deal with. We got it all done. And so, yes, we got it all done. Missing my baby. Talking to the President of the United States, President Clinton, it's melancholy, sadness. I don't celebrate victories, folks. When good stuff happens, I'm thankful that destiny allowed me to get the job done. I'm thankful. I don't celebrate the victory. Thankful. And I got another mountain to climb tomorrow, but I put a smile on for the president. So some quick views. We got just a couple of views. That's a solar eclipse. And so, like I was in Douglas, Wyoming 2 years ago. That's a standard eclipse, but when you look at Earth, that's what an eclipse is on Earth. So there's a total eclipse for those folks on Earth. My favorite thing to photograph are microorganisms, phytoplankton. And so all of these are microorganisms. They take nitrogen out of the atmosphere and put it in there. And so that's my favorite. Believe me, I'm from space, microorganisms. And so all the patterns you see. So with that, I got to come home, finish up on time here. Be a wonderful sunset we take in the Mediterranean, the night lights, and The aurora, these are what you see with the eye. It is totally spectacular. I have a whole program on just this kind of stuff, but home we come, and into Florida in this case, home sweet homes. People like yourselves, you did it right. You took me on a journey, and you brought me home safe. How's Hubble doing? That's before I fixed it, and that's after I fixed it. And that's what a bright star should look like. A bright star should look like a star, but there's the wrong curvature. You see before, that's the wrong curvature that's spreading that light out like that. And so these are the kind of pictures it took. The pillars of creation really got the world excited. And 5 years after taking this one, they did an infrared. It's just gorgeous what they're doing. And so 4 years ago, to celebrate Hubble's 25th anniversary, I had dinner with the Nobel Prize winners from their studies from Hubble. And next year, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary. And so today, of course, I am a farm kid, so I run a farm. I have raised 9,000 palm trees by myself without help. I do this. You know, I'm a farm kid, so do you play to your strengths? Whatever I touch turns green. And so I do this kind of stuff. This person wanted to be on the lake, so I dug that lake for them. So I build home sites for people. And that's my typical Florida landscape, just so natural. So this is your front lawn, you see right there. Now, of course, I have a 1943 Farmall. You know, it's an eBay one. It's not the same one, but it brings me back 70-some years ago. So, of course, I have one of those. Now, little Story Musgrave, who's 13, she's been riding this stuff since age 2 weeks. And so at 2 weeks, I have to cradle her. But when she got to 2 months, I would strap her car seats to different pieces of the equipment. And at 2 months, I strapped her up here. So she's learning her engineering and her mechanics. So the rock and roll put her to sleep now and then. But of course, Daddy's still operating. Yes, I own this equipment, and I still maintain it myself. But so I just, what experiences can I give this little girl? So sometimes it rocks her to sleep, but otherwise she's learning to engineer. And why no picture? Because Mother says none of this is normal. Mother says, if I see a picture, you can't dare have a picture of a 2-month-old riding that stuff up there. Okay, that's her at 5, her own 600cc all-terrain vehicle. Even the neighbors trust. She goes cross-country by herself at the age of 5. Perfect judgment. Perfect. She knows what she did. Perfect judgment with big machinery. So that's my John Deere girl. At age 7, she sold on 2 John Deeres and 2 Kubotas. The lesson here is not little story. The lesson is for yourselves. See, what experience do you give yourself to grow? What's tomorrow? What is the future? So that's her on that. That's her. We're progressing at the age of 7. People complain about no shoes, and no shoes is not the right way to go. But I do the best I can. I send her out with shoes, but she's a dirt girl. It's to her credit. She ain't going to wear shoes out there. She's a dirt girl. When it rains, this is what you get. So every time it rains, she's out playing in the mud. I have to hose her off, turn the hose on her. But I guess the no shoes is okay. The dog ain't got no shoes either. So where we go. I got her this machine fairly recently, beautiful zero-turn mower. And I gave her 3 acres to mow, but she doesn't mow. You know, she doesn't mow, she does art. She's an artist, and she wants to be an artist. And so she can raise and lower the mower by pushing on that. So you raise and lower the cutting blades, and that gives you different shades. She goes out here and she does art. So I don't mess with her. I just watch this going on. She does the art, and then she runs over. She gets on a JOG lift by herself. She jacks it up to 50 feet, runs it over, and takes iPhone pictures of her art. I said, my goodness, that's what I've raised. So now this is scary, and it's scary, but I don't mess with her. She wants to be an artist, and she paints the whole house inside and out. I give her the whole house, but she decides to art, and she decides, she runs to the garage and gets the ladder, and I just have to, hope this will work out, because the concrete, but, you got to leave her alone. And so I am a professor of design, Art Center College of Design these days. I teach art, design, engineering with a company called, it's the same thing. You start with art, design, engineering, and I teach excellence, exploration, evolution. I did this painting for Intel, Intel asked me to tell them what the future of the world was, and so I painted my PowerPoints for them. And so complexity is arising, and you know this. This is the world you live in. So this is my neurophysiology from 60 years ago. That's the electronics. Tighter and tighter connection between the creature, the biological creature, and electronics, this plant. So the evolution. So most of the solutions I come up with, people, are biological, social, and technically networked. So it's a network solution. This is our next machine. I say our because a little story. Little story, I mean, that's our next machine, designed for National Geographic. It's an amphibious, on floats, it's on wheels. Designed to take humans where no human could get to, and to get them out safely. That's the two motors. So it's being built by elementary school children and high school kids. So it's a kit, and they're putting it together. So they're learning from their mechanical work. They're learning design and engineering. And so my kids go to whatever college they want. When they get done working on this, he's Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And so it's always multiple hands. They're teaching each other. They're guiding. This is what my airplane's all about. You know where these kids are going. They're learning mechanical skills, engineering, design, all that stuff. Michaela here, she's been accepted to aeronautical next year. And so, you see all the cuts on her hands. I gave her gloves, but she thinks the cuts are part of the business. But I did tie up her hair because she was winding her hair up in the power tools. And so every kid that works on my airplane, I will take to the blue waters of the Bahamas. And here's the designer. He's designed the airplane, and he's the one that manufactures the kit. And so I have, where's quality? They're right next door. The people that manufacture the kit are next door. And he has been commandeered to be on the first flight with me. And so that's my quality. He knows he's going to have to do that. Here's Little Story. This Little Story Musgrave now at 13. And she's learning her skills from a PhD in mechanical engineering. And you see how happy he is with her result there now. And so, but you think about yourselves and you think about her. What's the next 70 years? Where do we go from here? What do we do? What is life? How's it going to unfold? Because it's illegal, I cannot say she has already sold an airplane. You're supposed to be 16, but you heard me. And so, but that's it, folks. Where are we going? This kid did not expect to be in Vancouver today. What was the future? Where do you go with all this stuff? That's what life's about, folks. Keep pushing, keep going, climb the next mountain. So, what's next? Me and Little Story are talking with Virgin Galactic, and we are working with them to go into space. If we pull it off, if this company can achieve the reliability that I have to have, we will have the youngest and the oldest to go into space on the same flight, and the first time a parent and a child went together. So we're working on that kind of stuff. And this is Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. This exists at Kennedy Space Center. It's there now. It's there today. I was there yesterday. It's there. And so lots of stuff is happening. How do I summarize all this with Walter Cronkite, your Apollo journalist? What do you say, Story? What can you say about all this? 3 things. I am privileged to have the incredible challenges, the meaningful challenges, and all those opportunities to do life. Secondly, a thankfulness that for the most time I was able to get there. This luck and this destiny and the stuff that happens. Most of the time somebody was helping me to get there, and I'm thankful for that. And thirdly, this tomorrow. It is and all. Who are we? So it's a backlit picture of Saturn. Gorgeous. The sun is off behind it. But in taking a picture of Saturn, somebody caught Earth. That's who we are. That is the way we must perceive ourselves and perceive our relationship to others and who we should be and what you should be. The Voyager satellites have been out there for 42 years. One of them is 13 billion miles from Earth. It has left the solar system. Still transmitting data before it left. It took a picture of us from 3.7 billion miles. That is who we are. That's the dust plane that formed our sun, the other planets that formed you and I. Spaceflight is the quest for the universe, but it's also the quest for who we should be. What's humans' place? And what is the future? I wish all of you in the crane business and all of us humans, with your feet solidly on Mother Earth, your head and heart in the heavens, and you go forward, reaching for the highest. And you take advantage of all those opportunities simply because they present themselves to you. Thank you so much for having me here today.